Yo, what's going on, homies? In today's video, we are going over what victim you should choose to fit your own unique playstyle. After you're done watching this video, you will be more confident going into your next match of victim. Alright, let's get into the video. There's a couple different playstyles that kind of stick out in my head when I think about playstyles in the game. You have your more stealthy playstyle where you kind of take a more calm and collected approach to the game. You have your more brute force approach where you're kind of just able to outpower a lot of the family members. Whether you want to be that person that is able to evade the killer the entire game, or the person that's able to literally take a chainsaw hit to the face and kind of brush it off like nothing happened. There's a victim that's pretty much a glass cannon, and she's one of the most, I would say, influential victims in the game that can kind of turn the tide of a match by just simply opening a door instantly for their team. With the one caveat that they're susceptible to getting either tunneled by the family or dying relatively quickly if they are put in a really shitty situation. So you gotta kind of be on your A game when you play that character. Then there's a victim that is able to pretty much use his brain and figure out where the fuck people are. Like plain and simple, he just figures out where people are. If you want to know where the killer is, you're able to. If you want to know where your teammates are, you're able to. And with that information, you can tell your teammates where the family is currently, and hopefully they can take that information and not run directly into the family, or maybe potentially go for a saving play where someone is getting chased and they don't have a lot of health left. Maybe you have another victim that is able to meet up with that person and able to backstab the family member and give them additional space. I use this a lot with one of my friends, and I usually play Leland because it's kind of like my favorite playstyle is like the more aggressive, and I kind of just want to save my team. I use this because he'll end up telling me where my team is being chased, and I'm able to use that information and I'm able to just cut them off. Say someone's about to die from a Leatherface, I'm able to charge in there and essentially just body check them to get them off of that person that's potentially going to die. With that being said, let's figure out which victim is the right one for you. One victim that I would highly recommend to anyone who is seeing that whenever they're playing this game, they're the first one to constantly die, I would say go with Anna, because Anna has one of those unique characteristics where if she gets hit by a killer with her ultimate power, I think that's what it's called, your ultimate in this game. I could be wrong, let me know. But with her ultimate, she's able to pretty much tank a hit. Like, you can run into a Leatherface's chainsaw and get hit multiple times when she has her power up, which is incredibly useful for surviving. Anna's a really well-rounded victim, and I would recommend boosting some of her proficiency stats, because that's kind of one of Anna's biggest downsides is if you get put in a situation where you need to unlock a gate, it's really slow. Like, it is painfully slow without any proficiency on her. I also noticed that when playing Anna that she kind of runs out of energy quickly, so it's beneficial if you are able to put her endurance up a little bit as well as your proficiency. I would say that's probably the best case scenario for you. If anyone has any other builds, just let us know down in the comments. I'd love to give them a try. Maybe I make a video on it. Anna could also be that survivor that you use if, say, you don't have a Leland on your team. You can confidently go up to Grandpa and jab him and reset the level. Anna is really good at grabbing the fuse, grabbing the valve, and just kind of trying to make a quick getaway. You could also try out a toughness/endurance build on Anna. This kind of creates her, I would say, ultimate build where you're able to just distract a lot of the family members for a while, either by just tanking hits and just like making distance, or by baiting a killer into chasing you and waiting for them to get close and you just sprinting right away from them. And you can pair this playstyle up with a perk called Jumpstart, which allows you to use less stamina consumption when you dash, and you'll get to a point where it feels like you barely ever run out of stamina once you get this perk leveled all the way up. It's really nice. When you play video games, do you like having information? Like, is that one of the main things for you? Say you play Dead by Daylight and you can't live without barbecue and chili. Any sort of aura reading in any game is incredibly useful, especially in this game because you have the ability for comms, unlike DBD where there is no active communication, where you can't just talk to someone in the game and relay an instant message. Information, especially in this game when you're playing as Sonny, is huge. And I think honestly Sonny is one of those really underrated characters that doesn't get seen a lot because there's other characters in the game that people have kind of hyped up a little bit more than Sonny. Me personally, I think that Sonny's power, where he's able to see not only the victims on his team, but also the location of the family members, he can use that information and pretty much relay accurate intel on where the family members are at certain times to allow other victims on your team to potentially open up an escape or go for the pressure valve or go for the fuse box, because with that information you just know where everyone is at all times around the map. And not only that, you can use that information and you can have someone pretty much get set up where you tell someone to run by a certain area and you have another person waiting for them to run by, and when the killer runs by after them, they get stabbed in the back with a bone shard. So start giving my man Sonny a shot. Trust me. I would say one of the downsides to playing Sonny is when you are getting hit by a family member, your toughness is a lot lower than most other victims, so you're gonna die quicker. So with that being said, you need to kind of take that into account and kind of play more strategically to not put yourself in a bad situation where you potentially could just get insta-killed. Sonny is a lot like Connie, where they're kind of like a glass cannon, but the one thing with Sonny that I found that I really like is, yeah, he doesn't have a lot of toughness, but that doesn't mean this man's not a fighter. Homie, you can stand and fight and hold your ground as Sonny.
I'm dying.
And most of the time you're gonna win a close encounter because he has a lot of strength, and that's something that he's really good at. Kind of like Leland, where if you're in a bad situation, you can kind of just 1v1 the family member and get out of it. Also, I thought I would just point this out. If you're ever in a really, really bad situation with Sonny, don't be afraid to just jump out the window, because he can recover so quickly, especially if you have the one perk that I can't really think of the name right now, but whenever you jump out of a window, you recover quicker. So it kind of just boosts Sonny's ability a lot. Like you can see right here, homie recovers almost instantly. Like he's ready to go, heals himself up, and he's gone. That's what I love about Sonny. You can kind of evade situations that other characters pretty much would end up dying in, which is honestly really nice. Maybe you fall into a certain category where it's more of an aggressive playstyle that you're kind of searching for. I would recommend Leland. Leland's ultimate allows you to shoulder charge the family member, and that is so useful because, one, if a family member is trying to body block a doorway, you can just barge through them, allowing not only you to escape, but you can also get your teammates out. Say someone is standing in front of the exit in the basement, you can just shoulder charge them and knock them down, and your whole team can go through. Another useful tip with his shoulder charge is, say one of your teammates is getting chased and they're about to die, you can shoulder charge the killer and essentially give them enough time and space to hopefully get away and get to safety, which is another reason why I really like playing Leland. Leland's kind of like the bull in the china shop, where it doesn't really matter if you are running around making noise. Obviously, you don't want to make noise at the start of the game, but if any character in the game that you want to use to kind of create a distraction, Leland is the perfect character, because not only do you have a get out of jail free card with your shoulder charge if you're put in a really shitty situation where you're going to die, you're pretty much, I don't know how to say this, you can't lose right, when it comes to like a 1v1. Obviously there's going to be some cases where sometimes you're low health and you lose a 50-50, but for the most part, when I've played killer, when I've played Leland, whenever I try to stand my ground as Leland, or I try to go for like a 1v1 with him as a killer, he ends up winning. And you can do this pretty often, and there's a perk in the game where whenever you win one of these close encounters, I don't know why I was saying a 1v1, whenever you win one of these close encounters, you get your health back, which you can kind of use that in a kind of like a near death situation, where if you're about to die, just turn around and try to fight them. Playing Leland allows you so much freedom to not only just move around and kind of create noise and distractions for your teammates, but he's very, very strong at going for grandpa stabs. Say the grandpa's leveling up way too quickly, the family just keeps feeding him blood, and his level just keeps on increasing. If you put on a perk like Agitator, I think that's what the perk's called, Agitator, if I'm not mistaken, whenever you stab the grandpa, say if he's like level 4, he's going to go all the way back down to level 1. It's also really good if you're in a 1v1 situation and you pretty much want, I don't know, like a safety net. Just go for one grandpa stab and just kind of disappear. And it allows you so much more time to kind of set up an escape for yourself. When you're trying to figure out what attribute points you should put into Leland, I would recommend either going with strength and endurance, because that kind of makes you more of a tank and you're able to run for longer and have the confidence to turn around when you're out of stamina and win the close encounter. It's really, really strong. Personally, what I've come to really enjoy is running a proficiency build on him as well as a toughness build. And it kind of just makes Leland overall more well-rounded. I'd say this because when I play this game, it's usually solo queue, and when you play solo queue in this game, there's going to be times where you're going for grandpa stabs, you're hip checking the family members, but no one on your team is opening exit gates. And this is where your proficiency, this is where your toughness to survive longer is going to come in handy. You're going to be able to open up exit gates quicker, and you're going to be able to survive for longer. Now for me, one of the hardest characters I would say for me to kind of pick up and understand relatively quickly was Julie. And I know that's probably hard for some people to understand, because they're like, oh, Julie's kind of just one of those survivors that is really stealthy and she can just run for a long time. But I would say she's a lot more than that. Julie is a fantastic victim if you're coming from a game like Dead by Daylight and you really enjoy looping or running from the family member, because she has a ultimate ability that allows her to sprint for longer distances and get you out of really shitty situations by just outrunning people and potentially making it to a well to drop down. But not only does she have that, Julie is really stealthy, and in this game, stealth allows you to open up items, open up doors so much quicker and without the fear of you making any noise. So with that being said, you can pump points into Julie's proficiency and pretty much guarantee that you're going to be able to almost instantly open things by literally just spamming your ability button to open it quicker. I would say a really good Julie early game would be going through the basement and either opening up toolboxes to get yourself a lockpick to lockpick one of the doors quicker. But I would say something that's really good for Julies to do, and I don't want to say this and have all Julies think that this is what they need to do, but a lot of the exit ways when you first start a match are going to be closed. By exit gates, I mean, or exit ways, I mean, like those little metal barriers that you're able to lift up. As Julie, you can literally just go around at the start of the game and pretty much instantly open them and not have to worry about waiting for the bar to cool down. You can kind of just pretty much just spam it and it'll open really quickly. Julie's very much a team player where she's able to create quick escape routes for her team to squeeze through so they don't die. Julie's also one of those characters in this game that whenever you're playing killer, she's usually the person you either see first in the game or you don't see at all, which kind of makes her a good idea to kind of go for a sneaky play, maybe on a valve or a fuse box. But I wouldn't recommend it because if she does get caught in a bad situation, she's extremely squishy and she'll pretty much die in like 3 hits. Last but not least, we have Connie, one of the strongest victims in the game in my opinion. With her ultimate ability, she's able to create so much pressure throughout the map that, say one of your teammates creates a distraction across the map, with her ability, she's able to just instantly open an exit gate. It allows her to instantly lockpick something. So at the start of the game, you have a Connie, you spawn in, you get off the hook, you immediately run to a toolbox, and you open the first gate you see, instantly creating pressure. Not saying that you have to open the gate, but you simply just unlock the gate and give your teammates that ability when it is time to leave the basement for multiple exit routes to just kind of be open and not really worry about, oh, we all have to funnel through this one exit gate and the killer is going to be at the top of the stairs waiting for us. With Connie, you're able to pretty much turn the tides of games where, say, the family member is protecting a gate that's open. One of your teammates can make a noise down in the basement or distract them somewhere else on the map, and you can go across the map and instantly open an exit gate, which is so strong for creating pressure, because not only do you have that pressure now that you have 2 exit gates that are open that people are potentially running through, this literally makes the family go nuts, and you're going to have people constantly going back and forth checking. And while this is going on, if you have someone hitting the fuse or hitting the water pump, it pretty much becomes almost impossible for the family to get any kills on anyone. With that being said, Connie is definitely not like Anna in the sense that she can kind of take a hit from a killer and just move on. If you get put in a really bad situation as Connie, a lot of the time, unless you find a quick exit route, you're going to die because she is so susceptible to just getting hit 2 or 3 times and just insta-killed. Not to mention, there's an arising meta where a family member sees Connie from the start of the game and they focus on Connie the entire game to get them out of the game. And I know that sounds like it's ass, but it's kind of similar to getting tunneled in Dead by Daylight, where killer will just stay on you the entire game. And they do this because Connie is so strong at creating pressure that if they're able to get Connie out of the game from the start, it makes the game so much easier for them as a family. They don't have to worry about someone just instantly escaping. They can pretty much just kind of sit back and relax and kind of play the game normally. Whereas Connie kind of just creates an anxiety that there's always going to be a constant fear that, hey, if I turn my back for a little bit, Connie's going to escape, and potentially if the other survivors are with Connie, they're all out. Personally, I've seen builds arise where you max out both their proficiency and their stealth, and you're able to just instantly unlock things and open up toolboxes almost completely silently, which is huge. Don't get me wrong, that's a huge thing to do, but there's a lot more than just opening up toolboxes and things silently in this game. I would say one of my favorite things to do with Connie is either by boosting her endurance up and boosting her toughness up. This kind of allows you to be a little bit more tanky and just allow you to escape the killer a lot quicker and a lot more effectively. Connie in early game, you need to survive. If you're playing Connie and dying 5 seconds into the game, please play a different character until you get confident to the point where you're not dying that quick into the game. Because if you die early into the game as Connie, you're throwing. And I just plain and simple, when you die as Connie, so much of the pressure that you bring to the game by choosing her is just kind of thrown out the window, because your team loses the ability to just instantly escape. Sometimes your team loses the ability for multiple exit gates to be open for them. Your team loses the ability for that instant pressure that is sometimes needed to escape this game. With that being said, I don't want to push you away from playing Connie because she is an extremely fun character to play. Just keep in mind that when you get used to playing a certain character in this game, other characters aren't going to be able to play that same way that you're used to. For example, I started playing this game as Leland, and if you try to play other characters in this game similar to Leland, you're going to end up running into the problem where you're just dying so much more frequently than Leland does, because Leland is a very unique character, and every character in this game has a unique and really cool ultimate where you can use that effectively. And I'm really excited to keep making content on this game, and if you guys want to see any other guides similar to this, or shit, if you hated this guide, drop a dislike on it. I mean, let me know what I could have done better in the guide. But I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It means the world to me, and as always, have a good one, homies. Stay safe. I'll catch you in the next video.